Shemai, I'm going to talk about 5 things to practice today. Now I'm holding a ukulele and a ukulele bass or bass ukulele. But what I'm about to talk about really is going to hopefully help any instrumentalist. It really doesn't matter what you're playing. This isn't going to be me giving a practice routine today. You know the type, 15 minutes of scales, then you're going to do your technical exercises, you've got to do some sight reading. All right, this isn't that kind of practice video, okay? Everybody is different and everybody should have different or slightly different routines. Something I may do in the future, but not for today. What I want to do today is talk about things that you can incorporate and really do in any of your practice and playing sessions. So 2 things that can really help before we get into the main things. Tune your instruments. Even if you think, well, I tuned it yesterday, or the pegs all line up. Okay, every time you play it, you should be tuning it. Okay, really, really important. And having your instruments accessible. Okay, yeah, you can see I've got ukuleles, and if you know this room, basses everywhere. But having it, not just so I can just go and pick it up, but in this case, it's already plugged into an amp. I am far, far more likely to pick something up and play it if it is just there and if it's ready. If I've got to go and get something out of a case or go and get the amp and set it up and plug all of that in, all right? I know it only takes moments, but I am far, far more likely to play it if it's just ready to go. Right, so the first thing you should be thinking about when you're practicing and playing is your sound. I know it's an obvious one, but if there is something wrong with the sound and you've noticed, try and work out what it is so you can correct it. Now, as a teacher, I'm watching my students and I'm watching them as they are playing, all right? I don't want them looking at their fingers and things, all right? But I am. So normally when something doesn't sound quite right, whether it's out of tune or if the note doesn't sound correctly, I've normally spotted what it is. Okay, so straight away there were notes not sounding correctly then, all right? Now, if I was your teacher, I would have said it's because you're playing in the wrong part of the fret. How can you help yourself when you were practicing at home? Record yourself. Most people have got phones with cameras on now, okay? For as long as I can remember, I have recorded things right the way back, okay? From when I was in music college, I used to record myself with a cassette. Google it if you have no idea what that means. These days, most Ukumaniacs rehearsals I record by video, not just to be able to hear the sound, but also to see if there is something causing an issue with the sound. All right, so just stick a phone up, record yourself. It's not for anybody else. You don't have to go and put it on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. But if you listen back to yourself, it might give you a good idea of maybe if there are problems. Now with the ukulele, you've got a few other things you've got to be thinking about, all right? Is your placement for when you're putting chords down. Are you making sure you're pressing your fingers? Okay, I don't want that sound, I want. But if I'm not pressing my fingers hard enough, I'm going to get that sound. So that isn't good. And also, where are you putting the fingers? All right, you don't want horrible sounds, so think about the sound you are making. And yet, recording yourself can really help work out if there are issues, but you're always aiming, no matter what instrument you play, for a good, clean sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. timing is what we're going to talk about next. So most people can count to basic numbers, and that's all we're talking about when it comes to music, okay? But timing really, really is important. If you're playing at a different speed to everybody else, it's not going to sound good. If you start to get faster or get slower, it is not going to sound good. If you can't get the tempo at the start of a piece, it is not good. And I see this all the time, okay? Somebody will count one speed to bring a group in and then play a different speed. I will see people who start one speed and then get faster or slower throughout it. Okay, so your timing is really, really important. Whether that is just going and playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and playing it on the beats you're meant to be playing at, or whether you're putting some different rhythms in. Or if you're in a swing tempo, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Compared to a straight tempo, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Both of those can completely change the way a song sounds as well, okay? So timing is really important. So what can you do to help yourself with timing when you're practicing and playing, okay? My main bit of advice would be get used to playing with some form of a beat. It could be an app on your phone. There are plenty of drum machines and metronome apps on there, okay? You could possibly, and I have made videos on this, make yourself some backing tracks using an iPad or using a Mac like I've got behind me, so you've got something to play along to. There are thousands of backing tracks online on YouTube. I've put plenty up there, okay? But put in backing tracks. Or play along to the original song like you would do on the ukuleleans play-alongs, okay? Because having something for you to play along to is so much better, at least to start with, so you're not having to rely on your own internal metronome, which may need a bit of practice. So here's one of my backing tracks. If I just want to use a drum machine, I've got something to play along to. And normally, especially a drum machine, if I was struggling, I could make it go slower. If I was thinking, oh, that's too easy, I could make it go faster. But give yourself a chance by playing along to something, because honestly, I promise you, it will really help with your timing. And get used to counting yourself in at the correct time you're going to play it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my next bit of advice, learn basic music theory. Okay, I know I've said previously that learning loads of music theory isn't necessary to play a ukulele and to play a bass. It isn't. But there are certain things that are going to really, really help with your playing of any instrument if you've got a knowledge of basic music theory. So your rhythms, do you know your note values? Do you understand what rests are? Okay, I've already mentioned tempos like swing tempo and straight tempo, okay? But you really need to know about how many beats are in the bar, time signatures like that, okay? And it's not that difficult when you really look into it. I've done a video on note values and things. Chords. Now, if you play the ukulele, All right, some of you will understand that a G chord is made up of a G and a B and a D note, depending where your fingers are, okay? Lots of you won't. You will just be learning by shapes, which is absolutely fine as a beginner, okay? Nothing wrong with it at all. But if you can start to introduce a little bit of basic chord knowledge, what makes up a major chord or a minor chord or a dominant chord, okay, that means you will understand a lot more about playing your instrument and therefore expand your playing, okay? So if you can, certainly on the ukulele, learn about some basic chord structures, and then you can start to think about moving the voicing or your chords around the instrument as well. Chords on the bass generally will play the root of a chord, but if you understand what notes make up a different chord, suddenly you can expand your bass playing. If you know what a minor chord is, you know that you're going to be putting that flattened third into your bass lines. That's going to make a difference. Stick with the basics, but try and expand a little bit to understand, as I said, very basic music theory. It will help with your playing on all instruments. Understanding key signatures, song structure, dynamics, repeats, all of those things will help you playing. And you don't have to delve into this theory that much to get some basic knowledge of it. And I promise you, not only will it help you playing, it'll help your musicality overall as well. As part of your practice and playing, listen to other music. Okay, I do this all the time, especially if it is a song that I am trying to learn. I will listen to it and I will try and isolate the part that I'm learning, either the bass part, it could be the ukulele part, it might even be the singing. Okay, try and focus in on what you were trying to listen to. There are cases where you can actually physically isolate the parts, okay? There's loads of them on YouTube, but there are bits of software you can get where you put a song in and just you can listen to the bass line or you can listen to the vocals, all right? But if you can, whatever instrument or whatever part you were trying to learn, try and listen to different versions of it. These days, everything is online for you to be able to hear. All right, so go away and listen to different versions of what you were trying to learn, and that will help you whenever you're practicing. You don't always have to have an instrument to be practicing. Okay, so number 5 to help you when you're practicing, sight reading. In other words, playing a piece of music that you don't know, you've never seen before. It can be actually reading dots. You know, I've got hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of music on my iPad for all sorts of instruments. Think online, it's limitless, okay, what music is out there. So you could be reading dots, you could be downloading a tab, you could be using a play-along video. I often come up here quite late at night and just play along to songs on my Ukuleleans play-along channel on the bass. Stuff that I've never played on bass before, okay? So yeah, it doesn't have to be reading dots. You could just have a song and try and work it out by ear. But yeah, there is nothing worse than turning up to a gig and saying, oh, we've just put this song on the playlist. Okay, now my strengths as a classically trained musician are sight reading. Okay, somebody puts something down with dots, with musical notation in front of me, I'll have a good go of it. I'm not always saying I'm going to be able to play it perfectly straight away, all right? But if it's a fairly straightforward song, yes, I'm going to be able to play it. My strengths are not listening to something, being told, oh, it's in E, and then suddenly being able to play along on any instrument. Okay, so that's something I try and do when I'm practicing. But the more you sight read, the better you're going to get, so that when somebody says to you, boom, can you do that? You are not going to be like a little rabbit in a headlights going, I don't know. Okay, so always be trying out new things. Doesn't matter whether you're reading it, whether you're listening to it, whether you're playing along with a chord chart or a play along video. All right, put yourself in that less of a comfortable position. All right. In other words, stuff you don't know, practice doing it. So that's 5 things for you guys to think about whenever you're practicing and playing. Your sound, your timing, learn some basic music theory. Listen to the parts you are trying to play. All right, listen to other people playing them, ideally with headphones on, recordings, or an isolated part. And try and fit in sight reading. Whatever or however you do the sight reading, try and put yourself in positions where you're learning new types of music or new songs all the time. And you're probably not going to get every one of those into every time you play, okay? But eventually you'll get to the point where you're not thinking about it. They will all just come naturally, hopefully. And one other thing I'm going to say as well, all right? And again, you don't need your instrument for this, is really study other people. If you've got a hero that plays the instrument that you play, or people you really admire, okay, or just people you know who are better than you, watch them and listen to them. What are they doing? What are they doing that is different to you? What do you think, or how do you think they're getting the sound that you like? All right. Everybody is influenced by things, but if you can really study, and again, we're in the day and age now where everything, or so much is recorded and is all online, really chuck a pair of headphones on, sit in front of a big screen and listen and watch other players and see what you can learn from them too. But don't forget to record yourself playing so you can see what you were doing. So there are 5 things that are hopefully going to improve your playing and your practice routines. Okay, I have got a Patreon site, so if you'd like to support me here on the channel, I'll pop a link in the description below for that. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and hopefully found it helpful as well. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, please feel free, leave them below. Give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.